Straight all day.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is a question. Do you have a success system or do you have a failure system? We're going to talk about the distinction between the two and how you can figure out which one you are operating under in today's episode. Before we start though, let me tell everyone I have a daily motivation text message I send out free of charge to everyone who's in my text community. If you would like to receive that message, it's guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. You got my word on that. All you gotta do is text me at my number, which is 305-384-6894, and every day when I send out the daily motivation, you will be a recipient. Second thing is, if you do not have your free copy of my newest book called The Third Day, The Decision That Separates the Pros from the Amateurs, go to thirddaybook.com, grab your free copy of that book right now. I will ship you a physical copy to your doorstep. Yes, you will actually hold the book in your hands, not a PDF, not an ebook, physical copy to your doorstep. Go to thirddaybook.com. And the third thing, those of you who are interested in increasing the revenue in your business, I am a systems and processes guy. If you want to get into having systems and processes for increasing the revenue in your business, go to workonyourgame.net. I have a free 45-minute training there that I want you to watch. Watch that training. I will tell you the 5 steps to doing so through systems and process. At the end of that training, if you are inclined, you can click the link there. There's going to be a link at the end of the training that allows you to get on my calendar and schedule a time to talk to me directly about how we can implement that stuff specifically for your business. So now we got that out the way, let's get into today's topic, which is, do you have a success system or a failure system? First of all, let's get a definition of this word system. Since I think most of you are familiar with the words success and failure, you have a general idea of what they mean. But what does system mean? A system is a set of things working together as parts of a mechanism or an interconnecting network. Now, since human beings, that's you and I, are creatures of habit, we are all operating by some form of system or systems, even though only some of us are fully aware of the systems that we're operating by. Or we all have some kind of system that we operate by. Or you would not have made it to 22 years of age or 35 or 48 years of age if you did not have some type of system that you operated by. Just the way that you live on a day-to-day basis is a system in itself. Even though the system may not be working for you, system may not be giving you what you want, it's still a system. Because again, what's a system? It's a set of things working together as parts of a mechanism. All right, you're the mechanism. So the things that you do on a day-to-day basis, also known as your habits, those are the pieces that make up your system. So today what we're going to examine is your system. And we're going to find out if the system that you're operating by, and you may have more than one, by the way, we're going to find that that system is leading you where you want to go, or is it taking you in the opposite direction? Keeping in mind that there is no neutral out here. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. You're getting towards where you want to go or you're getting further away. So let's get clear on which one it is. And then at least when you're clear on which one it is, then you know either you need to press on the gas and go faster in that direction, or you need to turn the car around and go the opposite direction. And I can help you with all of that. So let's get to it. Point number 1. Today's topic, once again, is, do you have a success system or a failure system? Number 1, do you have a process, at least one that you are fully aware of? The better question is not do you have a process, because everybody has some kind of process. I'll just explain that. Do you have an intentional process that is designed to achieve a specific outcome? That's the question that you should ask. Intentional process. All right, now again, we all have processes that we follow all the time. They're better known as habits. If you wake up every day and you wash your face and brush your teeth, that alone is a process. You do it habitually. Most of the time you don't even think about it. I mean, if you washed your face and brushed your teeth today, if it's in the afternoon or later and you're listening to this, can you remember exactly what happened when you did it today? Probably not, because you do it so often that it becomes, your brain basically deletes it because it happens so many times, there's nothing memorable about it. So look at all the areas of your life, other areas that may have a bigger impact on your overall success, and examine the habits that you have and if you have an intentional process in those areas. Because the habits that you have, whether they're intentional or not, are leading to the repeated outcomes that you're getting. So if you're an athlete and you're not getting the kind of success you want in your sport, ask yourself, do you have habits i.e. processes that are leading you to becoming the kind of player who you need to be so you can get to the next level in your sport. And you have a process, but is your process getting you where you want to go? If the answer is no, then you just need a different process. Maybe that means it's something you can learn on your own. Maybe you need to go invest in some training. Maybe you need to go hire a trainer. Maybe you need to go get with some other players who are doing it better than you. But you need to do something different from what you're doing right now. If you're in business and you're not making the kind of revenue that you want to make, or you don't have the kind of customers that who you want to have. Maybe you got customers, but you don't like your customers. Maybe you have customers, but you want more of them. Maybe you got customers, but you want less of them because you just don't like what you have to do with the business that you're generating right now. What adjustments can you make to your process in order to adjust the results that you're getting? Because the habits that you have right now, and we all have habits, are leading to the repeated outcomes that you're getting. So the skill here's the important part. You have to either do this yourself or get with someone who can help you do it, is dissect what processes are leading to what outcomes. Now, this is a very important point. Do not appoint yourself to be the one to do this if you don't know how to do it, because all that's going to do is add time to this process, and time is the most valuable resource you have. So it'd be better if you used your money to buy time by investing in help from someone or something that can help you assess this properly the first time. It's kind of like if you had a physical ailment, you wouldn't just try to assess it on your own for weeks and months and years before you went to a doctor and said, okay, doctor, this is where it hurts. Can you tell me what the problem is? The doctor can probably figure it out faster than you can. All right, so you had to understand, when does it make sense for you to appoint yourself as the expert, and when does it make sense to appoint someone other than you as the expert and fire yourself as being the expert. And here's a quick litmus test for that. If you've been in business for years and you're still not getting the outcome that you want, you probably need to fire yourself as the person who can diagnose the issue, because you've already had plenty of time. I mean, if I'm wrong about that, somebody can let me know. So anyone who creates your desired duplicatable results, has a conscious, intentional process for creating those outcomes. That stuff does not happen by luck. It doesn't happen consistently by luck. Some can happen one time by luck, but not over and over again. Point number 2. Topic once again, do you have a success system or a failure system? Number 2, does your system produce proven results? Keyword is proven results. You can answer this question by asking yourself some simple questions. Number 1, what outcome do you want? All right, now you have that answer. What outcome do you want? Number 2, are you consistently getting the outcome you want? All right, answer that question. Now, if you don't know the answers, or you don't like the answers to numbers 1 or number 2, then the answer to the overall question, does your system produce proven results? Then the answer is no. If your system is producing proven results, then number 1, you know what the outcome is you're helping yourself or others get, and number 2, you are able to consistently achieve it either with yourself or through other people. If you can't answer both of those in the affirmative clearly and confidently, then the answer is no. And if you can't prove it, then the answer is also no. All right, proof is an important point here, because somebody could just say that, yes, I have a system and I can help people get results, but if you can't prove it, then the answer is no. All right, there's no gray here. Everybody clear? It's not could you, it's do you. The difference between could you do something and actually are you doing it. So for your system to be producing proven results, you need to know what you want, and you need to know that your system can consistently produce said result X, such that you can predict the outcome and you can produce that outcome on call. In other words, when you decide to produce that outcome, you can push a couple buttons and that outcome is achieved. To give you an example, Michael Jordan talked about after his first comeback from retirement, when he came back to basketball in 1995, that he had lost the ability to turn his game up on call when his team needed it. So when his team was down and they needed somebody to score some points late in the game to help them pull out a victory, before he retired, Michael Jordan had the ability to just decide, all right, I'm going to take over this game, and then he would literally just take over the game, dominate, and the Bulls would win, and they won championships. But when he went away from basketball for a year plus, and he came back to basketball, he was a little bit rusty. He was still pretty talented. He was still physically gifted, but he wasn't as sharp mentally to do the things that he had been doing before, simply because he had been away from the game. He had stepped out of his disciplines. He had stepped out of his process. So even as good as Michael Jordan was, even he was a victim of the fact that he was no longer following his process intentionally and consciously. And thusly the Bulls came up a little bit short when he came back that year. He was still pretty damn good, but the Bulls came up short. When Michael Jordan said the following year, after he got a whole offseason to get back into his groove and get back into his zone and get back into his process, his system, his intentional process, then he was a lot better than next year. He was sharper than next year, even though the statistics were not that much different the following season. But he was a little bit more sharp, and the Bulls were able to do their thing. They won the next 3 championships. So he was able to turn it up when he wanted to at the snap of a finger, as he had been before. And the reason he was able to do that is because he put the time in to getting himself back into his ideal game shape, and he got his team of people who helped him around him to help him get into that shape. And in the following season, he was back to pretty much his old self. What he had lost was his access to the system because he stopped doing the work. See, the good news though, any of you who have lost access to a system that you used to be on, you used to be getting results, but you're not anymore, all right, if you can get back to doing the work that got you there, then you can get back to the results. Now, if you have never gotten the results, then what you need to do is get to the work. Maybe you don't know what the work is. That's okay. Good thing about the world that we're in now, we are so interconnected, is that you can access the people who can help you get there. If it's not going to be you, it can be somebody else. It doesn't have to be you. And again, the smartest people leverage other people's brains anyway. They don't do everything by themselves. Nobody's that smart. So the good news is you either will know or you can access someone who does know what work you need to do to get back into your zone. And the good news for everybody is that even when you know absolutely nothing, there's somebody out there who does know something. All you have to do is plug into what they offer, and they can help you get the outcome. So nobody is lost, even if you have never achieved this outcome before. And another thing on this second point, if you happen to be a marketer or salesperson, which all of us are on some level, if your system can produce results for you, and you can show that this system has and can produce results for others, we call this social proof. You can show other people, hey, look at this example of me producing this result for Susie and Mike and Jason and John and Jane. Now that you have social proof that you helped other people get this result, then the next person who comes along, they'll be more willing to work with you because they can see the proof that you have helped other people with your process. And if your process can help all of them, then your process can probably help me too. So any of you who buys anything, at least something that requires you to think about it at least a little bit, if it's a significant amount of money, whatever that is to you, you usually want to see some proof. You usually want to have that person prove that they have helped others besides you, or before you came along, that shows that they can help get this outcome for people who are similar to you. And when you see that social proof, you are probably more willing to invest and deal with that person because they have proof that they have helped others. So when you can help yourself, then you help others as well. And I got an episode coming on that topic very soon. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is do you have a success system or a failure system? Number 3, if the current system that you are operating by is producing outcomes that you simply do not want, then all you have to do is change your system. Now, I know I'm making that sound very simple, but I mean, that is literally all you're going to do. Now, it may take you some time to change the system. It may come at a cost of energy and attention to change your system. Maybe even a cost of money to change your system, because maybe you invested in the old system and now you got the new system. But that's all you're really going to do is change the system. Now, again, the change in system might be leaving the person you are working with and getting with a different person. Maybe it's leaving working with you and working with someone else. Maybe it's leaving working with someone else and working with yourself. But you need to make some type of change. You have to do something different. We all understand definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So what this means is, if you're not getting the result that you want, folks, you need to make a qualitative change, a change in quality, a change in approach, not a change in quantity, which is doing more or less or better of a thing. You need to do different. Not more or less better, but different. That's the difference between a qualitative change and a quantitative change. This means a completely different approach, a different mindset, a different set of habits, and a different lens through which you see the world, and different means through which you apply your skills. This is very hard to do, if not impossible to do, when you're doing it all by yourself. And this is why when I talked about qualitative and quantitative changes in episodes 22, 27, and 22, 28, I emphasize this so much. And why I say to everybody, every professional who's serious about achieving at a high level in what you do, however you define achievement. So if achievement may mean for you a certain amount of money. Maybe achievement means having a certain number of fans or followers on social media. Maybe it means a certain number of customers. Maybe it means you winning some plaques and trophies and awards. Maybe it means a certain level of recognition. Maybe it means a certain lifestyle for you and your family and your kids. Whatever it means, when I say achievement, the highest achieving people all have other people helping them achieve those high level outcomes. They're not just doing everything by themselves. So there's no such thing in a literal sense as a self-made man or woman. Nobody's self-made, because we all are standing on the shoulders of other people and getting help from other people aside from ourselves. Even though your name might be the one on the door and your name might be the one engraved on the trophy when you win, it's not just you by yourself that won. All right, so an athlete wins an MVP award. They have trainers, they have coaches, they have nutritionists, they have other people who are helping them perform at that high level, even though they're the one who gets the recognition. A business does great. The business gets their name on the Fortune 500 list, but there's hundreds or maybe even thousands of people working in that business. Not to mention the consultants, the coaches, the lawyers, the accountants, all the other people who help that business do what they're doing. So nobody does everything on their own. If you're trying to do everything on your own, I want you to understand that you are working at a level of inefficiency that is slowing down your success. Because you can't do everything by yourself. You don't have the talent to do everything by yourself. You don't have the time to do everything by yourself, and you simply don't have you don't have the arms and the legs and the brains and the eyes and the ears to do everything by yourself. You can't do everything at once, and there's a bunch of things that need to be done that one person cannot do on their own. I don't care how good you are, how hard working you are, how motivated you are, how much you believe in yourself. Trying to do everything by yourself is actually going to make it harder for you to achieve outcomes. So the good news is, after all of that, as there are a lot of people on the planet, like 8 billion of them, aside from you. So you don't need to do everything by yourself. So why try? It's much easier and much faster to do things with and through other people, especially when you're doing things with and through other people who already know, already have done, already understand, and can explain the qualitative changes that you need to make. So I just told you need to make a qualitative change. See, what you need is not to get more understanding of the fact that a qualitative change is in order. It's just you need to find who knows what qualitative changes need to happen, and they can help me make them. That's all. That's the question you need to be asking yourself. That's it. That's the only question you really need to be asking. Everybody who's listening to this right now. Why do it by yourself when you can do it with other people the fast way instead of doing it by yourself the slow way? I mean, who would want to take the slow bus to get into where you want to get to? Nobody wants to do that. So any of you who's in a position right now where you accept what I'm saying here, but right now maybe you feel like you don't have the resources to invest in getting somebody to help you. Maybe you feel like you just don't have usually that's the main reason that I hear from people. They just don't have the resources. I can't afford it, I don't have the money, I don't know the right people. Listen, if that's you, here's what you should be doing right now. You need to start planning for how can I put the resources aside so that I can be in a position to do something about this, so that a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I'm not singing the same song. All right, that's all I'm going to say to everybody here. And even if you feel like you don't have the resources, first of all, get clear on what the resources are. I can't tell you how many times I hear from people who say they can't afford something and they don't even know how much it costs. They can't do something, but they don't even know what it takes. That something can't be done, but they don't even know what it will require for the thing to be done, but they're saying they can't do it. They don't even know what they're saying they can't do. All right, don't be this person. Because that kind of mentality keeps you in the back. That mentality keeps you at the bottom of the pyramid. That kind of mentality keeps you broke. So with that said, let's recap today's class, which is, do you have a success system or a failure system? A system being defined as a set of things working together as parts of a mechanism or an interconnecting network. We are all creatures of habit, so we all have a process. We usually call them habits. And let's figure out if our process is working for us or not. Number one, do you have a process, or rather, do you have an intentional process that is designed to achieve a specific outcome? Again, our processes are usually made up of our habits, and your habits are your employees. I talked about this in my book, Working Your Game. They're either working for you or they're working against you. And if they're working against you, you got to fire them. Every person who creates desired, duplicatable results has conscious, intentional processes in place. Point number two, does your system produce proven results? You can answer this by answering two questions. Number one, do you know what you want? And number two, are you consistently achieving it? If you can't answer either of those in the affirmative, or both of them in the affirmative rather, then your answer is no. So you want to get to the point where you can produce your desired outcomes on call. And if you're in the marketing or sales world and you can do this with other people on call and you can prove it, then you have what we call social proof, and that can help you sell your stuff. It's actually almost required for you to sell yourself. The good news is, even if you don't know how to get into producing proven results all the time for yourself, all you have to do is plug in with someone who does know how to do it, because there's somebody out there who does. And number three, if the current system you have is producing the results that you don't want, then you got to make a change in your system, which is a qualitative change. That's a change in approach, a change in mindset, a change in strategy overall, not a quantitative change, which is a change in like doing more or better or faster of the thing, which is what many people default to, because that's what most people understand. And this is the reason why many people spend a whole lot of time working but never getting better in their outcomes, because they're trying to improve quantitatively, just doing more and better, instead of improving qualitatively, which is doing different and taking different approaches. And the reason why people do this is because to take a different approach usually require you borrowing the brain of another person. And so many people in the world today have been somehow have this belief, this idea in their mind, they have to do everything on their own through hard work, or they have this false belief that anything that they could get from another person they can't afford, and they don't even know how much it costs. And that kind of mentality is what keeps a lot of people down and keeps a lot of people from achieving. So I want to make sure you don't fall victim to that. So with that said, text me to get my daily motivation free of charge to your phone, 305-384-6894 every morning starting tomorrow, and go to workonyourgame.net, access my free training, 5 keys to increase the revenue in your business without running yourself into the ground. It's a free training. At the end of that training, I'll produce you a link where you can schedule a time, get on my calendar. We can talk about doing that specifically for your business. Work on your game. Dre all day.